Hello, good afternoon. I am Donna with Aging Advantage, and here we are again today with another educational topic today. We have our presenter today being Chet Cain, and he's going to speak with us about the different educational opportunities to make connections with local resources that could help with food, housing, or isolation struggles since the pandemic. Go ahead, Chet.
Great. Thank you very much, Donna, and welcome everybody. I will pull up my presentation and we will get started. So, that not many people look forward to talking about and thinking about, but it is something that a lot of us need to have a plan for. Studies suggest that maybe as many as 70% of folks at some point will need some sort of care outside the home as a and certified senior advisor for Oasis Senior Advisors here in St. Louis. We're a nationwide brand. I have lived in St. Louis for over 30 years, and my background before I got to Oasis and now even as a senior advisor, I'm an educator. I have taught in public schools. I've taught at universities here in St. Louis and abroad, and I also was a corporate trainer for 10 to 15 years. So, thinking about senior, what do people think about when they say a senior community? Um, for a lot of us who are older, um, we think of a nursing home, uh, a place where folks who are quite ill and are often confined to hospital beds. But things have changed. Since the 80s, there are so many more options related to senior living. And this approach where there's multiple options much better fits different people's different needs. Um, Even though there are more options, folks are living longer and they're also staying in their homes longer. So there's still a disconnect with people moving into senior living, and choosing senior living is not for everyone. Um, there are a lot of people who can successfully stay at home um, for their whole entire life. But if senior living is something that seems to be on the horizon, um, hopefully this presentation will help you get your mind around that possibility and understand all of the potential options that you might have to um, think through as you're moving towards selecting senior living. Almost no one wants to leave home and move into senior living. That is just a um, thing I hear all the time. It is borne out by research. Very few people are excited to move into senior living. But the interesting thing is, I was told this during training. I've heard this when I've toured and talked to folks living in senior communities. A lot of people who live in senior communities now say they should have moved years ago. And that is just one of those interesting disconnects. So, what are the basic types of senior living? Skilled nursing is the one that provides the highest level of healthcare needs. It is almost like being in a hospital. Skilled nursing can either be for rehabilitation, where somebody is recovering from some sort of medical crisis and is likely to recover. And then there's other folks who have some sort of medical condition that means they need long-term care. They will be permanently in a skilled nursing facility. The all of the staff are highly trained medical professionals or assist those medical professionals. And a lot of these places come with the highest level of cost because there's so much care required for folks who are living in these communities or these parts of communities. Oftentimes, when we're talking about senior living, actually, we're talking about assisted living, a type of community where somebody just needs a little more help with doing what they need to do. They need assistance with housework, meals, maybe with getting laundry done, getting dressed, making sure you can get up and move around. Um, and so assisted living has less staff, it has more folks who are just there to assist and not provide medical care. Um, and a specialized version of assisted living is what we call members will likely at some point be diagnosed with some form of dementia, and that um, disease may progress to the point where you need specialized care and a memory care unit for activity, making sure uh, living is another level of senior living where there's almost no assistance, and a lot of what is provided is um, social activities. Um, and you live in an apartment, you can oftentimes still drive, still cook many of your meals, but then meals are provided in the community so that folks can um, interact. And the focus of independent living is making sure people are not isolated, people have a social support network, and there's somebody to help when needed. And when I talk about senior living, I'm usually talking about assisted living and or independent living. So the rest of the presentation will kind of focus on assisted or independent living. One final type of senior living that a lot of people don't realize exists is what we call respite care. This is commonly used for folks who need assisted living, but may only need it for a short amount of time, 2 weeks, a month, 6 weeks. You can move in temporarily to an assisted living place, get a lot of care. And this helps out caregivers who need either a break, caregivers who are going through their own health crisis or need to be away for a short amount of time. Um, and the senior can stay in the assisted living community temporarily and be safe and cared for. So, how do you figure this out? How do you figure out if you need senior living or not? One of the great things is to get advice from someone who's done it. You would be surprised, even though oftentimes we don't talk about it, because there is a stigma about, oh, I had to um, move my mother or my aunt into a senior living place. Talk to your friends, and Even better, talk to a friend who's already moved into senior living, and get advice from them. Another option is to work with someone like myself, a senior living advisor, somebody who has gone to many communities, knows the communities in the area, knows what they provide, knows um, all of those aspects that will help you make a good decision about where you would fit best in terms of senior living. And even though you may want to be staying at home, and for the foreseeable future, you will be staying at home, sometimes it's good to have a backup plan because crises happen suddenly. And um, having a plan, not having to um, struggle and make a snap decision might be better, makes a better result, and you can make a clearer, more well thought out decision. So, here are some of the signs that senior living might be appropriate for you or a loved one. Um, First one are the less nice ones, the negative ones. You're having challenges in the home. Maybe it's safety. You're somebody is having falls, is unsteady walking up and down stairs, is unsteady in the bathroom, or is just having a hard time getting around a house that is not set up for somebody with mobility problems. Another challenge may be needing help, needing care. Maybe somebody needs help with housework, yard work, maintaining the house. Um, Maybe somebody is having trouble making meals on a daily basis and they're skipping meals. Maybe somebody is having trouble organizing bills or they need some sort of medical help. Um, that's Senior living can help with that. Even though there are services where folks can come into your house and also help with that. But if the care is more substantial, um, senior living might be an option. Uh, or maybe life changes. Um, Someone may lose a spouse, friends move away or are not available. Um, I've had clients who've talked about their house is just too big now. Their kids have moved out and they're having trouble maintaining that house. Maybe they have mobility issues to get, or their health is changing. All of those may be at least a yellow flag to think about getting help. And one of those avenues of help is senior living. Also, there are positive things that sides move into senior communities because of it. One is they they decide that their quality of life would be better in a senior community. In a senior community, you have fewer responsibilities. You don't have to do all that housework, all of that maintenance. Meals will be provided, activities and socializing events are right there in the community, or there's transport to events, there's transport to doctor's appointments. You don't have to drive, you don't have to maintain a car, um, and that is an improvement for some folks. You get help with getting around or any medical issues you might have. And you also are just around people on a um, day-to-day basis. These communities are set up so that people leave their apartment and are among people who are just like them, seniors who have decided to move into senior living. People also talk about the simplicity of living in a senior community. Usually there's one bill, or you probably also have to pay for your cell phone. There's friends nearby, right in the community. You have breakfast with them. You see them at chair yoga. You see them at all the other events. And you also have security and help right at the front desk. And so any problems, you have a backup and you don't have to do it all yourself. And uh, a third good thing that I have heard from clients is they don't want to be a burden. Their caregivers are have other responsibilities, and the seniors' care needs are becoming um, more significant. And the time that your son or daughter or um, cousin has to spend with you and to help you out, their life is changing and they may not be there as much as they would like to be. And so maybe senior living can help reduce that burden, that reduce that guilt, because um, there's so much guilt associated with care and um, um, not being independent, quite as independent as one once was. So, senior living, this is a big decision. Do not take this lightly. It is a big decision. It is emotional, it's financial, it's personal, and it is a big change in life. So, um, you know, and you may be making that decision. Many seniors make that decision and recognize that senior living is a good option for them, but it also may be your caregiver, your friends, your family may be suggesting, hey, you're not getting around as well as you once did. You may be a little isolated, and maybe senior living is a good option. So there is a lot of interpersonal discussions that may need to happen in moving and making this decision to at least look at senior living. Um, and like I've said before, it's always good to have a backup plan because medical crises um, can happen, and it is a lot easier to move into senior living when it's on your own terms and not when you have to make a snap decision. So if you decide, all right, I need to um, move into senior living, the three basic questions you will need to answer for yourself, and that will guide you in terms of making a choice of a community is what help do you need? So, do you need, and are you still pretty independent? Can you get around? Can you make some of your meals? Um, do you still drive? Do you need minimal levels of care and support? Or has your mobility, your health progressed to the point where maybe assisted living is more appropriate? You need more people around. You need to have people who will make sure you get up in the morning and can make it to the bathroom and to breakfast and make it to activities and get everything you need done. Make sure it gets done. Another big thing is what is your budget? That is a very big, very complicated topic. I will not go into details here, but talk to a financial advisor, talk to an estate planner, talk to anybody who deals with your finances to help you out, figure out what you can pay on a monthly basis and what assets you have. Maybe you have a large chunk of money which will help pay for at least part of senior living. And also, where do you want to live? This is a particularly uh, important topic for St. Louisans. I've talked to other folks in other markets, people my counterparts across the country, and they are surprised to hear that a lot of St. Louisans would rather move 2 to 3 miles away, and moving from Kirkwood to Webster just seems like a step too far. But yeah, decide where you want to live. And do you want to stay in the neighborhood you know? Do you want to move to an area where your family is? Do you want to move into a community where you already have friends who you grew up with, you worked with, you go to church with? All those factors are things to consider. And then there's some of the harder questions to ask. Um, Moving into a senior community, assisted or independent living, it should feel like home. It, but it should also be more than home. It should be easy to live there. Senior communities are set up to make it easy to live there and get things done. You don't have to try as hard as you did when you were living independently in your own apartment or house or wherever. Um, you will be part of a community of seniors. You will be around people who are just like you, who grew up in the same era, have the same kind of maybe the same outlook, maybe the same life experiences. The interesting thing about senior living is there's often a vibe, I've noticed, and I talk to my clients about this. When you walk into a senior community, some of them are very quiet, and but some of them are very vibrant. There's people out in the hallway, people in the common area. The dining rooms are quite large. Um, some of them are um, in the country. Some of them are in right in town and next to shops and restaurants. What kind of vibe do you want to have for your life as you move out of your house? A lot of senior communities spend a lot of time, money, and effort on the art and decor, but that is just, some of them are quite fancy, some of them are quite homey, some of them are very modern. Um, so those are all differentiators to senior living. Some senior living places are out in the suburbs. Some of them are in town. Maybe they're high rises right in downtown Clayton, for example. And some of them are far out and are on a campus surrounded by nature. What would sound good to you? Um, when you move into senior communities, um, in independent living, you might end up one of the options, which is very new within the last 10 to 15 years, is senior living can have separate little houses. Some of them aren't even that little. Some of them are good size houses, usually 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, villas or duplexes with their own garages. And you can live in this house. All of the maintenance is included, inside, outside, snow removal, lawn care, but you're in kind of a separate house, and that may be what you're looking for. For independent and assisted living, a lot of places have apartments. You'll be in some sort of apartment complex. You're gonna have a studio. You can have a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Some of them are quite large, some of them are quite modest. What kind of space do you need? And then more commonly with skilled nursing, but or memory care, but some places for the budget conscious or they offer shared rooms where you have, like the hospital, you will have two beds in a room. Sometimes they're separated by a curtain, sometimes they're separated by kind of a divided wall, and you'll share a bathroom. Um, but that may be an option based on your budget or what's going on with your health. Food. This is one of the big things when you tour communities. The community will always talk about their food because it's so important. It is important for seniors to be well fed, but food, I was trained in it as an anthropologist, and I know food is more than just nutrition. Dining and is something you talk about, something you socialize about, something you do together with a community. Um, and so a lot of places will talk a lot about food. Commonly in assisted living and independent living, it will be a restaurant style where you can pick, there'll either be a special or a choice of two specials. And then there might be other options like, I just want a cheeseburger today. I want soup and a salad. Um, but then other communities will go deeper into food. They will have specialized pastry chefs that all they do is make pastries and treats for the residents. Some places have uh, dining hours, breakfast, lunch, dinner are certain times, but some places will say you can come in between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and order anything you want whenever. A lot of places will have a private dining room if you want to have friends over, if you want to have family, you want a special event, you can have a special dining room. A lot of places will have a meal plan. Independent living tends to have maybe you have a little continental breakfast and maybe one meal a day. In some places, like especially if you're in a villa, you don't get any meals as part of your rent. But with assisted living, you usually have 3 meals a day, with often with choices. And some communities have ice cream shops. So you can just go in and get a treat. Health and wellness is an important part of senior living, and communities include that as part of what they provide. Um, most, I think all senior living places will do some sort of pre-move-in evaluation. They will say, they will talk to you and observe you and make sure you are moving into a place that you will be successful. If you have, for example, if you have more care needs, but you're trying to move into an independent living situation, they may talk to you and say your care needs are going to be more than our current staff can provide, and we should talk to you about um, being in a room, being in a building that has more care, so that you, as the senior, as the resident, can actually do well. A lot of communities, even independent communities, will have wellness checks of some sort. Call in, check in at the front desk, just make sure everything's good, and there's no issues. A lot of communities will also have some sort of emergency response, usually for the front desk. For example, pull cords in your bedroom or the bathroom. just in case something unpleasant happens, you can get help as quickly as possible. And that response will probably be quicker than if you were in your home and your caregiver or 911 was not just down the hall. Senior living places will also have therapy and other medical services on site. This is very true of assisted living and sometimes true for independent living. They will transport you to doctors or specialists for your medical needs. Senior living communities will also be designed to be accessible. They will, um, there will be few, if any, stairs. There will be ramps. They will be walker friendly if you need to use a walker. And a lot of places will be wheelchair accessible. Not all of them. So sometimes you need to talk to them. And if you do use a wheelchair, some of the um, some communities will be better designed for wheelchair use than others. There's also safety um, in terms of both, hey, I have a health crisis, I've fallen, but also there's security at the front desk. There's monitoring of folks coming in and out. There are protocols if there's a fire or some other disaster to make sure that people can get out safely, which is not necessarily true if you were living in their house. Exercise will be a common feature of assisted and independent living. Usually they're adapted so to allow for people with um, mobility issues to be included. So they'll be for all levels of mobility. Mental health services has become, especially since the pandemic, very important for seniors. Mental illness does not stop once you turn 60. And so many senior living places understand that that's a service that will help a lot of their residents. Um, if you're in independent living or in assisted living and remember your medicine or other health protocols that you need to do personally every day can be very complicated. Um, there will be help with making sure you have reminders to take your medicine and to get other sorts of kind of day-to-day medical help. And that may be uh, very important for your well-being. Living in a senior community is also designed to be very convenient. Um, there will be laundry facilities. In a lot of independent places, the laundry will be in the apartment. Um, some with assisted, there will be laundry facilities down the hall, and they will also do a certain amount of laundry for you every day. Certain communities will have spas, and I mean like massages and um, nails and hair salons, all of these things which people expect now. Um, and of course, certain communities will have a wider range of conveniences or luxuries, depending on your perspective. And other communities will have a more modest range of conveniences and amenities. Some places will have gift shops, so you can buy cards and knickknacks and snacks and stuff like that. I've already mentioned ice cream parlors. That is a common thing. Most of the independent living and all of the assisted living will have some sort of concierge, somebody at the front desk who can help you with something or kind of direct you to the right person for certain kinds of services. Most communities will have some sort of transport options. With independent living, they might be quite limited, but with assisted living, they'll be many options for activities, getting to your medical appointments, and if you have mobility issues, they will have appropriate transport for you. A lot of senior communities are pet friendly. They they will allow often they will allow cats and small dogs, and sometimes certain communities will be amenable to slightly larger dogs too. But sometimes you have to talk to them. A lot of communities will have their own library, and a lot of them will also, in addition, have the city, county, municipal library come and bring books to senior communities. So it's very easy to stay up with your current reads. And since some folks are not very computer um, comfortable, a lot of communities have common um, computers right in the common areas if people don't want to maintain laptops in their own apartments. They can go out and do a little computer work from time to time. Senior living is also set up for socializing. That's part of the design of a senior living community is to make sure people are not isolated and they're not staying in their apartment and not they want people to thrive. And socializing with others is an important aspect of that. So there will be different types of communal spaces in senior living communities. Maybe there's a little nook with a table and a few chairs. Maybe it's a larger communal space, um, dining rooms, activity areas, those sorts of things. Senior living will have all kinds of events, and I'll talk in a second about the different types of events. They will have resident clubs. Sometimes they're not organized by the community, but residents organize their own clubs. Cards clubs, current current activity clubs, gardening clubs, all of those sorts of things. Um, Meals for visitors. Your relatives, your friends can come to a lot of the senior communities and eat with you in the dining room for a bit of an upcharge. I also mentioned that there's private dining and visiting spaces if you want to have meetings with your lawyer, meetings with your family, friends, whatever. Another interesting aspect of senior living now is some of the communities, especially the larger ones, will have guest suites so that it's like a little hotel right in your senior community that friends or relatives from out of town can come and stay right in your community and dine with you, and they don't have to get a separate hotel room. And it's sometimes quite competitive in terms of price. Senior communities also want you to live fully. They want you to do as much as you did before you moved into the senior community or more. They will have uh, designated activity directors who put together exercise classes, movies, arts and crafts activities, lectures, have musical guests, musical performances live or recorded in the communities. There'll be spaces for activities like maybe you want a pool, maybe you want a jacuzzi, maybe there's walking paths on the a rural campus, bocce courts, putting greens, billiard rooms, card tables, art rooms, gardening areas, exercise rooms. Not every community has all of these, but if you have an interest, um, you can probably find a senior living place that will have options for you. They Senior living places will put together happy hours. Oftentimes, they will be in a specially designed bar that's part of the senior living community. They will obviously have a lot of holiday parties. Today's the Cardinals opening day. The communities I've already visited today, people are dressing up. They have special activities associated with holidays and other sorts of noteworthy um, things. They will have outings to keep people part of the community. Um, Maybe it's museums, maybe it's theater, shopping. Commonly, they'll have, especially with independent living, they'll have trips to local stores, grocery stores, or other stores, so that you can get your essentials without, and you get assistance getting your packages, your bags on and off the bus and up to your apartment. Maybe that's something that's um, problematic for you right now. Um, Seniors may be find religion important to them, and there's a whole range of options in different communities. Some communities are run by religious organizations, and in those, you might have a very grand, large chapel. Other communities might just have religious observances in common rooms. Some communities will just have communion. They might have just Bible study. So not have full services, just a little bit of um, um, religious observance for residents. Some communities have televised services for specific um, denominations. A lot of places will provide transport to specific churches or other religious organizations. And some senior communities are fully secular, and it is on your own to um, uh, do your own religious observance. A lot of communities will have resident councils that will give feedback to executive directors or the chef or whoever's in charge of food, so that residents have a voice in their community and can give either positive or negative feedback, and the level of service at the community will be improved and be catered to the interests of the residents. I already mentioned some special clubs, um, different types of card games, poker clubs, gardening, either inside, outside, um, um, current discussions, current events, whatever folks want. There'll be clubs for that. And another interesting one is a few communities you can have an exchange. You can pay your rent to a community in St. Louis, and maybe you want to spend 2 or 3 weeks at another community that's part of the same network. And so, yeah, you're especially with a few independent communities, you can go stay in other cities for a little while and then move back to your apartment here in St. Louis. Um, a lot of communities will help you with the move. Um, uh, if you've lived in your home for a very long time, many decades, it may be difficult for you to downsize, and they will have a specialist who will come out and help you downsize and talk to you and say, all right, this is how much space you have. Do you really need to take two can openers to your new apartment? They will walk you through that. A lot of places will map your new apartment. They will know exactly which apartment you're in, what the square footage is, what the layout is, and be able to map and say, you can't take the full size couch. You need to take um, the love seat instead. And they will say, all right, this is how much you can take all of this furniture, and then this much space you have for storage, and make sure that you don't show up at your new apartment with too much stuff, and then you have to do a second downsizing once you're in the community. And a lot of communities will set up your apartment for you so that you don't have to get your nieces and nephews to lug, uh, you know, dressers and couches into the community, they'll set it up for you. They want to make sure it's easy for you to move into that community. You may be feeling overwhelmed because this is a lot. There's a lot involved in making the decision, but and that is fine. Feeling overwhelmed is not surprising, um, but because it is a big decision. And in order to make this decision, you need to be prepared. So coming to this talk is a good first step. Talk to people. Um, One thing you need to do is sort out important details. Make sure you have your legal paperwork filled out. Sure you have your power of attorney, your estate documentation is sorted out, your financials, you're really ready with your financials, um, that sort of thing. And also get help. Get help from, talk to your family and friends. If you need a senior advisor, talk to somebody like me because it is a very complicated um, industry, and it's not something that you're trained for, even as an adult. So, to summarize, senior living now has so many options and so many amenities. It's not like it was before. Senior living is meant to make aging safer and of higher quality. Um, it is not for everybody, but it may be an appropriate choice for a number of people. There are costs. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It can be quite expensive, especially as you have higher medical needs. You have to pay for the staff that will be helping you out. Um, but it's interesting sometimes to compare with staying at home, where maybe your home insurance, your yearly taxes, your maintenance, if you really did work through the budget, it might be um, a lot of money, and it will make moving into senior living much more um, affordable and much more parallel to staying in your home. And like I keep saying, make a plan and get some help because it is um, good to have a plan so that you don't have to make last minute snap decisions. Thank you very much. I hope this was informative. I know you don't have all the information you need, but it gave you a little bit of information to start the process, and so that you're not completely lost if you decide you or a loved one or a friend needs senior living. This is my contact information. I do this professionally um, every day, every day of the week, and I'm there to help. Am here in St. Louis. I know the St. Louis market. You can phone me, you can email me, you can also text me at that number, and let me know if you have any concerns or if you need assistance or want to talk more about um, what senior living could provide. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Chad, for that. Let me, there I am. I'm a person. Thank you so much for that wealth of information. That was really, really great. Really appreciate that information so much that it's so amazing how you can just have like a one-stop shop for everything, you know? And I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, I hope and pray by the time I get to that level in life, if I ever have to get to that level, that
Mhm,
those are still around for me and something I can take advantage of and
mhm.
afford to do so. Um, I'm sure you mentioned it, but I do want to know, you do private and insurance, right?
Yes.
Oh,
I paying for Senior living is a whole other, I could have talked for an hour about how
How
senior living
just
places are priced and how you pay for it. Some people are surprised that Medicare does not pay for senior living. They will pay for a little bit of rehabilitation after you have some sort of um, medical event.
injury or something.
Yeah, if you go to the hospital, they will, when you're done with the hospital, they'll move you to a rehab unit for that, and Medicare will pay for that. Um, for people who either have very, very high levels of medical need, say you have a very debilitating stroke or some sort of medical problem that requires so much money on a month-to-month basis that you can't afford it, or you have are of don't have much income to begin with, Medicaid will pay for skilled nursing only. They won't pay for assisted living. They won't pay for independent living for sure. So independent living and assisted living tend to be paid for private pay through long-term care insurance, and a few benefits like if you're a veteran,
Okay.
you may get assistance that way. So that's I didn't want to get into the financial piece, but I alluded to that it is a big discussion, and you need to have a very serious talk with financial people and do a lot of looking into your own finances.
Okay. Okay. Another
Okay.
question that kind of sparked for me is because of the all the amenities, sometimes
Mhm.
moving out of your own personal home, like you say, it's something at first nobody really wants to do, but after they've done it, then they're happy that they did make that choice or that change.
Mhm.
Do you or have you found anybody that didn't want to go or even was excited to go? They did make that change, but then maybe 6 months, a year, two on down the line, they end up saying, actually, this was a bad choice. It wasn't so great like I thought it was. Do you ever have anybody do something like that?
I've heard of that. Obviously, in my profession, I'm either meeting people who are interested in senior living, or they are currently living in senior living. But I
Uh-huh.
have heard that, and that's why you need to do your research. You
Okay.
don't want it is of no it's not a good outcome if you move into senior living. It's not good for the senior. It's not good for the caregivers. It's not good for the community. They want people to move in and live their
Yeah.
best life.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's why I said it's a big decision and it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, um, one of the options is to do a respite stay. I mentioned that real briefly, that you can move in for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's something you need to do. You'd be like, I'm really not sure about this, and try it
Yeah.
and give it a try. Um, but yeah, sometimes you need to move in because um, you don't have
Circumstances of something.
yeah, you don't have caregivers around and stuff like
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
maybe the kids grow up and then you can move in with your adult children later in life. Maybe you do only spend a few years in a senior community, but
Okay.
that tends to be uh, uncommon.
Okay.
Like I said, if you go in and talk, I talk to my clients and I say, don't just take it from my perspective. Don't just take it from the community, the people there, Wells marketing staff. Talk to the residents. They
Yes.
know. They
Mm-hmm.
know the good, the bad, and how it is to actually live here. And a lot of them will say, "Hey, I should have moved in when I was a few years younger. It would have been
Okay.
I like it. So
Yeah.
but that's a bias because it stayed. So yeah, it's not for everybody.
And
And
it's
yeah,
probably,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There was a pause here, and I think it was just maybe the connection. So I thought you were done. So I apologize.
That's fine.
um, I was just wondering with that when sometimes people end up saying they wish they had done it earlier. I wonder if they're saying that because if they had done it sooner, maybe the older we get, the more our bodies break down. Sometimes the slower we get, we can't enjoy as much as we probably could have 5 years ago. So the sooner that they do it while they're still active and, um, the
Mhm.
mobility is there and even the thinking skills are there. I'm wondering if a lot of people are saying that because they actually can benefit a lot sooner and earlier. Maybe it'll help them to stay more healthier just a little bit longer. Do you know if anybody, if that's the reason why or not?
I don't know if there's been studies. This is all anecdotal from things I've heard from community directors, from colleagues, from
Okay, gotcha.
actual residents.
Uh-huh.
But some of it was also like they don't want to maintain their house anymore. Were struggling getting up and downstairs. They had a house they were only using two or three rooms in the house, but they were paying
Okay,
taxes and
okay,
insurance and utilities for all of this stuff. I mean, there's a million reasons why people move into senior living and, find it appropriate.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. One last thing here. Have you heard or known most people? So sometimes when living on your own, and if you, like you say, you are, maybe your spouse has passed away, or even your spouse is still there and it's just the two of you guys, but
Mhm.
after living with somebody for so long and you see them day in and day out, sometimes we do have those, may have those moments where there's just silence, hours of silence. And
Uh,
the thing where we're trying to hopefully encourage people with these classes is to, one of the big things combating this the social isolation.
mhm.
So getting into a senior living facility, do you know or have you heard that that's something that actually helps people more so than just being in their home and just say, okay, let me do a caller ride or something. If caller ride does it, I'm just saying some kind of transportation place. Take me to a day institute, for a few hours a day. Do you know or have you heard people enjoy maybe living in a facility that has all these amenities and have all these people, different people and programs and things, more friends probably, or just staying in my home, me and whoever, or me by myself, and just when I want to go out and deal with people, then I'll, call a particular place and go there for hours. Which
Mhm.
of those two do you think, even for yourself, if you don't know, you think
Uh-huh.
people may get more of a benefit from, just to, combat that social isolation type thing?
Right. Totally depends on the person, because
Okay.
some people need, extrovert, introvert. Some
Uh-huh.
people need a lot of social interaction. Some people don't need as much. But I've heard from home care, home health care people, even having somebody come into your home a few hours a week, make a few meals, do your laundry. It really makes a difference in people's lives. And a senior community provides even a broader range of options. So, you know, um, it is very common for folks to move into senior living if as they become more isolated and they are getting out a lot less.
Okay.
Like I
Okay.
said, friends moving away, friends not being able to get out as much, um, spouses, caregivers have more responsibilities and can't be there all the time. Um, but yeah, definitely socialization's part of it, and part of it is safety because um, um, if you are in your home alone and you spend 10 hours overnight where no one's around, um, and you have an issue, help maybe a ways away, but in a senior community, a phone call, a pull on the pull cord, or a knock on the door if you don't show up at breakfast may be really important for
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
your health and your
Yeah.
well-being.
I agree. I agree. That's great. That's great. Good
Yep.
idea. I didn't even think about that part of it, but yeah, that too. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, just talking to people, being around, even if you're the biggest introvert, may still benefit by having, a meal alone in a room of a few dozen people,
Mm.
or being able to watch a movie with other people and have a short conversation afterwards. You don't have to be the biggest
Right.
extrovert in the world to qualify to do well in a senior living place.
Benefit. That's great. I
Yep.
agree. Such a wealth of, again, information. I'm sure many people can learn from that. And you did provide your information in order for somebody, if they want to look into it further, for them to reach out to you. And I hope they
Yeah.
do, because that's you have so much knowledge of it.
Thank you.
And I think you'll be a great resource for people to be able to lean on and, just contact, even if it's just questions, maybe they're not totally ready to make a move, but they've been kind of thinking, So I
Oh,
think
for
it's a
sure.
great start, Chet, because you'll be able to lead and direct them in a appropriate manner to the
Mhm.
right direction. I believe that will be great.
Yeah.
So
It's a free service, and yeah, like I keep saying, have a plan. Don't be forced into that last minute snap decision, because that anywhere in life, that's not the ideal.
yeah, it's true to maybe end up being more uncomfortable than
Mhm.
comfortable, and we don't want that. We want somebody to be able to thrive on whatever they decide to do. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if Lee has any questions.
Actually, I do. I have one question that I thought
Cool.
of. I was gonna say, so Chet, have you ever been in a situation where you walked into a nursing home and you thought, there's no way I should live here or anybody I am helping should live here, and what signs were there that kind of told you maybe I should help them go find somewhere else?
Okay.
Has that ever happened or?
Like I said, there's a whole vibe difference among senior living places. Um, and but as we're trained, um, even the less nice senior living communities may be a better choice than staying at home. Yeah, maybe you don't need, some people need marble foyers and ice cream parlors and stuff like that. But some people just need, very basics, you know, uh, accommodation and somebody who's kind of paying attention. So um, there is a huge range. Some of them are not as um, well maintained. So you do need to tour these facilities. There is resources from the state about licensure to make sure that an assisted memory care or skilled nursing facility is maintains their license, and they have to have certain requirements. Um, but some people are coming from a very unhealthy, unsatisfying living situation in their home, and maybe a very basic senior living place might be better. So yeah, it's very hard to be judgmental about that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's senior living for everyone, and um, there are resources because if somebody is in a senior living place for a long time and things change, the ownership, the management, the condition of the facility, the staff changes over and they're not as helpful. And there is a organization. There is a series across the state. In every state, there are ombudsmen who are the people you would call to say, hey, I don't, I'm a resident or my loved one is a resident and something's going on with the community and we need help negotiating because seniors tend to be have less of a voice, have less, they are dependent on these senior communities and they may need some outside assistance. So there are various organizations across Missouri that serve as ombudsmen for the seniors in your individual county. They're usually organized by county. Does that help?
That does. Thank you. I was just curious because I know, sometimes we've gone to some and you're like, this is not one that I would want to live in, but then again, that might just fit that person's vibe, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Some people want, yeah, some fanciness, and some people are like, I just need basic stuff. And, you know, yeah.
Sometimes it's all about the community that you're with, not necessarily the walls that you're in.
Yes, it can sometimes it can be very just aesthetically less nice, but if the caregivers are excellent and you get along with the other residents, that's the most important thing. Don't judge a book by its cover, you know. Um, see, talk to the residents and see how the caregivers, the people who are helping you out, interact with the seniors, and that's the biggest thing.
Well, thank
Okay,
you for answering my question.
no problem.
I believe that that was it. I didn't see any other questions, but if we get any on Facebook or if people message us directly, we will send them your way.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you again, Chad. We appreciate it.
No problem.
You have a good day now.
You too.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.